Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and welcome to episode 20 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. As always, I'm your host, Nate Charles, and I'm joined by my co host. His name is Shane Murray. How are you this lovely morning, Shane?
Uh, a little chilly. Winter is coming.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing long sleeves for the first time since probably April. Yeah, we're recording this a little earlier this time around. Not used to recording in the middle of the day.
Yeah, the vacation lets you do that. So it's kind of nice. You'll have the whole day to yourself after they're done this. I'm gonna go move a friend into a house. So,
Nice. They're moving down around Philly, you said?
actually it's like 30 minutes from their place that they live now, but it's closer to Philly.
All right. Well, nice enough area, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you're doing well this morning. I understand you had a little bit of a rough night.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a bad sports night. So, it is what it is. Phil's got eliminated from the playoffs. Eagles got just blasted by the Giants. And the Flyers actually held their on better than I thought they were going to against the Panthers, who just won the cup. So that one was the best of the three. They lost 2-1.
Yeah, I was going to see if maybe you wanted some company watching the Eagles game last night, and yeah, I was just exhausted after finishing with work yesterday, mostly because I swapped my sleep schedule between jobs at this point. So yeah, I ended up not doing that, but I guess it's good. I didn't have to see you cry, so.
I wasn't crying. I haven't cried over them in years at this point. They just irritate me. Last week when I literally walked inside and what did I do last week? We lost last Sunday, and I think I missed the last 4 minutes. I just went inside. I was like, I don't have to deal with this. I'm I've been short enough now where I'm just like, I don't have to. I can just go do something else.
Fair enough, I suppose. Anything to keep your sanity.
Yeah, I have to do something to do that. So I told Aaron, I was like, so they lost on Sunday. I'm like, this week can be miserable for me because I don't know if I'm going to see a win. Because well, the Phils did win on Wednesday and then got to Thursday and then lost inevitably and not knocked out of the playoffs. But I was like, I might see every team I like lose this week. She's like, what are you gonna do about it? I'm like, I'm gonna just barely ignore it so I can get through this week because I'm on vacation. I don't want to deal with any extra drama. So just gonna just follow it on the phone if it gets too bad.
Yeah, turn off ESPN and don't
Yeah, I've
don't
literally
let it
don't
stress you out.
I don't even watch ESPN anymore. I used to be like a devout, is that the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for?
devout is definitely the word you're looking for.
I used to be like a devout follower of like ESPN, NFL Network, like any network. Like I was consumed by sports. Now I'm like, bah, bah. The NFL, I only watch the birds and then I don't watch any other game. And then I will watch the rest of the baseball playoffs because I like baseball. But yeah,
Well, before our listeners start thinking that this is the ESPN Sports Network podcast,
or the anti-ESPN Sports Network podcast.
well, we are certainly in that category, most likely. But how do you feel about getting down to today's comic, Shane?
Let's do it.
So this week we're going to go ahead and deep dive into 1996's Fantastic Four, Volume 2, Number 4. Creative team on this one was Jim Lee doing the plot and pencils with the script by Brandon Choi. Inkers were Scott Williams and John Dickinson. This issue credited as JD. The colorist situation is a little interesting here because you have Joe Kyoto and Martin Jimenez credited with colors, while Wildstorm FX is credited with computer colors. So I'd actually be really interested to know where the variances are on those two jobs. The letterers are Richard Starkings and Dave Lamphere at Comic Craft. with Mark Heisler as the editor and Bob Harris as editor-in-chief. Cover dated for February of 1997, but released on December 4th of 1996 with a cover price of $1.95. Shane, you want to go ahead and take a guess at where we've topped off with a graded 9.8 edition for this
30,
book?
$33.
Well, I mean, by Price is Right rules, you win, but you really shouldn't because $179.
That seems way too much for this book.
Yeah, I know, just a little bit, right?
Unless it's just because it's Black Panther in it, I guess. Maybe. Was that his first appearance in this?
It's his first
And
appearance in Heroes Reborn, and I guess you could, I don't even know if you could call it the first full appearance of Doctor Doom because he cameos in issue one, and he more or less just cameos at the end of this issue. Spoiler alert for those,
yeah.
listening. But yeah, technically I wouldn't consider his first full appearance until, next issue. But here we are. So you got a second Doom cameo appearance, kinda, and first Black Panther, kinda, because it's volume two. It's not like this is Fantastic 452.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like,
Mm.
I'm guessing they're considering it like almost a key for this volume.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like someone just didn't know what they were buying. Who knows?
I really hope that's what happened.
I don't imagine you're like someone who's buying a gift for somebody and like they're like, what do your significant other say? And you're trying to go out and do some sort of grand romantic gesture. And that person's like a huge, say, Submariner fan. And they're like, you know what I'd really like for my collection is a Fantastic Four number four. You know, first Silver Age Namor. Would love to have that. And this person goes, oh, well, I can hop on eBay and I can get this book. One, they're overpaying for it at like $179.
Yeah.
Then they give it to this person that they're in love with, hypothetically speaking, and they're like, what is this? Not to
This
take
is
anything away from volume two, number four. I mean, like you and I have said on multiple occasions, we're enjoying this run a little bit more than we thought we would, consider all the word of mouth on it. But it's not the Fantastic Four number four that you would think of, say, volume one.
no. $100 $100 seems stiff. 100 and what'd you say, 79 seems way
179, yeah. You want to take a guess at the ungraded value?
285.
$2.84. Remarkably spot on. I'm that is yeah, you know what? Fantastic accuracy on that. Good job, pal.
That's wild.
Well, this is normally where we'd go through the synopsis for Marvel Unlimited, but guess what, Shane?
No synopsis.
No synopsis. Time for a Shaneopsis.
Synopsis. Yeah, let's go. Um, well, as we previously stated, I guess that doesn't really go into the synopsis point. So, in this issue, you are now met by T'Challa, also known as Black Panther, and Ben's afraid of a date.
I this is what I think is the quintessential Shaneopsis because it started with utter confusion and it just ended with nothing being conveyed for the most part. So props to you on that, man. Anyway, you want to go ahead and take us through the cover of this issue, please.
So, in this one, you kind of get cheated by having Black Panther be right on the cover, knowing that you're gonna see Black Panther possibly in this book. Then you have Sue semi-invisible there, right over his shoulder. You have Ben like shoulder to shoulder with him. You have Johnny coming up between Ben and Sue all flamed on, and then you have Reed stretching to the stars behind them, and you have this beautiful crackling green effect behind them that looks like they're in outer space, but it doesn't look like they're in outer space at the same time. It's a very striking cover, and you have a nice little corner box of Ben yelling.
which I believe is taken from this issue, from the interior. But yeah, I love that Kirby crap on the background. Also, kind of a couple notes. I do like the ground that they're standing underneath. It looks basically like they're standing in the midst of an explosion as the ground is kind of crackling and falling apart beneath them. Also, Black Panther, as depicted on this cover, has a different costume than what he's depicted in inside of the issue.
Yeah, well, it's he's missing his cape on the cover for sure.
Yeah, and the cross strap that I think
Mhm.
goes over his shoulder from his belt is also missing.
Yeah, it's missing there, but I think the cape is the more the bigger piece. But if you had the cape, it's gonna miss. You're gonna lose the back of Ben and his backpack.
So what do you think of his backpack here?
Um, I'm not really sure what the whole point of that backpack is.
Because it also looks like Reed may also have a backpack considering the straps that are there, but you don't see it from this angle. Sue is wearing a jacket as well as some sort of backpack.
Yeah, maybe it's like an explorer's pack. It's the Fantastic Four's explorer's pack. It's Reed's D&D kit to all of his party members. If you need, there's a thermo blanket in there. You can light a fire with it. It's so that you can go adventuring.
Yes, because we all know that Johnny needs help lighting fires.
Well, he clearly doesn't have a backpack, so he's his own problem.
That's very
Reed
true.
Reed should have got him a blanket.
So, as to be expected, this is a very visually striking Jim Lee and Scott Williams cover. That being said, there is a variant cover. Shane, would you like to take us through the variant cover?
Oh yeah, sure. So the variant cover is the Christmas cover for this, which has Sue leading off the charge right up front in a um, what you would consider a Christmas Halloween outfit that you would have bought from Spencer's. And then
That
you
is a
have,
Santa outfit. You, of all people, I think would call that a Santa outfit, sir.
I mean, yeah, it's a Santa outfit that you bought from Spencer's for Halloween.
Yeah, it is lots of cleavage.
And like, um, then you have Reed decorating the tree weirdly, like stretching his head up and using his arms. It's a weird proportion, but it's nice to see him using his ability out there. You have Johnny hanging up, it looks like net lighting or taking down cobwebs. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be back there, but
I
I'm gonna
think
go with
he's
net.
supposed to be rigging up the lights, which is the most pain in the ass Christmas job ever. So good on him for taking it on. And I mean, rightfully so. He's the one that can fly.
And then you have Ben with a sack of something over his shoulder in his Santa Claus outfit, which is basically a robe and a Santa hat.
And he has red trunks.
He does have red trunks. And then you get another corner box here with it's really hard to make out, but I think it's supposed to be Black Panther in that corner box.
It's definitely Black Panther. And again, it's been taken from the interior of the issue. But yeah, this cover was by Wowsy Patasio. And yeah, an interesting take. I'm always for seeing the Fantastic Four doing family Christmas activities. Sue's a little bit provocative for my taste in this image, but you know, it's Wildcy Portacio, it's the mid 90s. What else do you really expect, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm glad that I think when I was looking up to I can have the image right here on the thing.
Mm.
I think the most expensive copy I saw of that was like $1.50. So that's what it should be worth because no one needs that cover.
Ouch, that's brutal.
It's not for me.
I agreed. I prefer the I guess cover A is what we'll call it, to cover B. But again, it's nice to see kind of a Fantastic Four family activity on a cover, even if it does have its concessions. And as we open up this issue, we are greeted with the mountains of Wakanda. As dusk falls over the African nation of Wakanda, a lone figure stumbles out of the deep, dark jungle, weary from 3 days of running in a bitter contest for survival. In short, the hunter has become the hunted. And describe this gentleman that we see, Shane.
We see like a very typical Wakandan warrior. He's got a face mask that's made of, gonna assume is out of vibranium, and he's got a staff, and he's got this laser gun, which is wild. It doesn't look like it has the right proportions to be a gun because of the way he's holding it, but you know, technology. It's way outside of our usual realm. He also has a little backpack over his shoulder. If you can see that little canister there.
I do, and you called it a staff, but it looks more like a spear to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-sided spear. I just called it a staff because it was, I guess, just like a generic thing. Because he would like if you, I would think if he was using the spear, he would have had that instead of the gun out. I don't know. I feel like it's like more ritualistic than it is used.
He's wearing like a leopard print loincloth as well, so he's lightly dressed but armed to the teeth here.
Yeah. Do you think that face mask has like, besides the fact that it has little tiny eye slots, do you think it has like a computer in there they can track stuff with? Or do you think it's just regular, just generic face mask that they try to protect their face with?
So, I mean, given that it's Wakanda, you would think the former, right? But given the situation and what's about to happen, maybe not.
Yeah. So there's some questions to be asked there, but maybe we'll get an answer one day.
As the leader of an elite expeditionary force, Matumba's mission was simple: to find a mysterious object that had tumbled down from the heavens several weeks earlier. Unfortunately, they never dared to expect what they actually found. Now, after an unrelenting battle of wits and combat skills, Matumba believes he may have finally eluded his uncanny pursuers as the sole survivor of a group that once numbered 20. At the moment, however, Matumba's only concern is warning his people of the danger before it is too late.
Yeah.
And what do we see here, Shane?
You see his eye, and then you see the thing that's stalking him's eye, and you
Which
get
looks
a
like
nice,
what?
it looks like a dinosaur eye, let's be honest. And you get a nice little grrr as it's like growling, prepping to attack him. And you also see like a skull in Matumba's eye. You see like a little skull in his pupil there. And then after you get the grrr, uh you see him get at least slaughtered by three fingers with long, or three talons with long pointed sharp ends, and get a nice rip because apparently he just got ripped to shreds.
The contest is finally over. It's the oldest law of the jungle, one that Matumba himself was taught growing up. The predator always takes down the prey.
And you get a little fly on his finger, really showing that he's been laying there for a minute.
It's a nice touch. Maybe not nice, but. And we turn the page and our scene shifts to Half a world away, a somewhat similar scene plays itself out. This time, the playing field being the concrete jungle of New York City. And we see Johnny Storm uh, at the counter of a toy store, being wrung out by a female attendant who says, "Hey, don't I know you? You look kind of familiar." "Well, I come in here a lot collecting action figures and stuff." "Wait a second. Aren't you Johnny Storm?" I've been getting that a lot lately." "You are. You're one of the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch. You rule, man." And from behind Johnny, what starts coming into frame here?
A bunch of hands reaching out to grab him. Well, the lead hand with those really creepy nails really bothers me. I can't wait till we flip this panel. Those nails drive me bonkers.
I mean, there's, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. There's well over 10 pairs of nails
Yeah, it's
coming at
not
Johnny
the
from behind.
it's not the other ones. It's the lead one. It's the one with the double rings at the top. That those nails are terrifying.
And we get some interesting looks at the updated Johnny design for Heroes Reborn. So things that I didn't maybe notice before in the previous three issues are the somewhat stubbly beard that he has going on. And also that he's rocking an earring.
Yep, rocking that earring.
And you know what he's still wearing? Those
L-
damn gloves.
Yep, and the leather jacket. It's important. It's part of his persona. How many pairs of gloves and leather jackets do you think he owns? Do you think he has like 365 of them? So when he burns through one, he can just grab one the next day.
Well, he's supposed to be a rich kid in this continuity, right? So probably. But yeah, man, 90s fashion on full display here.
Oh man, I know you're so excited.
And you get a number of voices. "There he is. I told you it was him. Johnny, I love you. I've just got to touch him." And we get to the title of today's story, which is,
The Heart of Darkness.
and much to your delight, we will flip the page here. And what's happening?
Johnny is getting chased out of the store. He's running to the exit as fast as he can.
And how many of these girls would you say are pursuing him here?
Um, 14.
As he's running, Johnny says, "Uh-oh, gotta go. Bye." "Wait, don't go yet. He's so cool. Sign this for me." "That's not really him." "I've got to touch him." "I want more than that. Light my fire, Johnny. I could probably get into this if they weren't all 14-year-olds. There's my bike. Time to make a quick exit in." Johnny looks to the sky, and what does he see?
Flare, a big old Fantastic Four flare in the sky.
Huh? The emergency flare. Something's up. I gotta get back to the Baxter building and fast. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Flame on. Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. He said it. He said it. And Johnny takes off into the sky, still holding his sack of action figures.
Mm-hmm.
One of the girls says, "Whoa, check out his bod. Please come back." "So long, ladies. It's been real." And he takes off with a what?
Foosh. Um, we did miss in that panel when he's running out. He's running out of a Toy Store, by the way, who had the contract for the Marvel license at the time.
They were actually owned by the same person who was Ron Perlman. And eventually, shortly after this, were rebranded as Marvel Toys. And Johnny takes off through the sky and actually flies through the upper right quadrant of the signal flare, saying, "It just doesn't get any better than this." While a passerby below yells, "Look, it's the Human Torch. I can't believe I'm actually seeing him. Look at him go. Something's going on. He's headed for the Baxter building." But there seems to be a stoic looking gentleman whose face is obscured by a New York Yankees ball cap amidst the crowd. And he
Mhm.
is looking at a newspaper headline detailing that the four had just moved into the Baxter building, to which another passerby remarks, I heard the Fantastic Four turned it into their new headquarters. And Johnny, while flying, still says, I'll tell you, from now on, this town's going to be rocking. And our scene shifts again to, I believe, a street in Soho where a red van is driving down the street.
I believe they call it out as Soho, so I think you are correct.
The driver says, Nuts. All these streets down here are starting to look the same. I hate to say this, Mr. Grimm, but I think we're lost. And the driver has a passenger who is,
The Thing, none other than Ben Grimm himself.
I'm not even sure we're in Soho anymore. Just keep driving till I tell you to stop, Richie. Whatever you say, Mr. Grimm. I'm just happy that you and Dr. Richards gave me this job after everything that happened at Vandermeer. And where was Vandermeer again, Shane?
Oh, where was Vandermeer? Was that it was out in the desert, right?
Yeah, I guess what I should say is what was Vandermeer?
Oh, what was Vandermeer? That was the space that was their spacecraft experimental spacecraft thing they were working on in the what was that the first issue of this?
Yeah, it was the base where Excelsior 1 was being launched from.
Yeah.
Ben continues. Yeah, well, we needed somebody to drive me around since I can't fit into the dad blam driver's seat. I still can't believe that I'm really here in Manhattan, New York City, the Big Apple, the city that never. Hold it, there she is. It's Alicia. And who has he been looking at?
He's just looking at a redhead lady on the street, thinking that it's Alicia.
And she's wearing a pink jacket with looks like what, black yoga pants and
Mm. Yep.
uh, boots. That just again very 90s fashion with the backpack. Stop the car, Richie. Dang it. I can't get out. My mitts don't fit these pint-sized handles. Let me out of here. Oh no, not again, Richie says with his head in his hands. And of course, what happens?
Ben just cracks open the top of the car so he can get out and utter shocks the lady
And
with a nice shrack as it's crash like as it's just getting ripped from its unit body.
this is where Ben was taken for the corner box. But I believe the image is flipped on the cover.
Yep, it's flipped on the cover.
And the woman outside the car goes, Oh my God. I've been looking for Alicia for over 2 weeks now. I ain't gonna blow it just because of some stupid door handle. Alicia, it's me. It's Ben. Oh no, it's not. I mean, you ain't Alicia. And describe the young lady that we see here.
She's got her pink coat and her leggings and her cheetah print boots, which are
I think they're cowboy
interesting.
boots.
They are they cowboy boots? Or are they like a Wellington? They remind me more of like a rubber boot. But they do have like a cowboy point to them. I don't know. It's a weird boot. And then a little backpack, and she's wearing these little purple sunglasses because why not? And she is utter taken aback from the thing just jumping out of a van at her.
I mean, she does look remarkably like Alicia Masters, except
She
for the
does.
the very stunning green eyes. And the groceries that she was carrying are now strewn across the street.
Yes. Poor lady is terrified.
And
I
as
think
Ben,
any of us would be terrified if he jumped out of a van at us.
this is true. And as Ben remarks, You ain't Alicia. She says, Excuse me? Wait a second. You're one of the Fantastic Four. You're the one they call the Thing. Didn't mean to scare you like that. I just thought you was somebody else. It's okay. Really. My place is just around the corner from here. Can I offer you a drink? Maybe you could come over and tell me why they call you the Thing. Huh? I'm sorry, lady, but I really gotta go. Well, if you'd like, I could still give you my number. Maybe we could get together later in the week or something. No, I can't. I got this thing I have to do then. Isn't that right, Richie? Richie? Mr. Grimm, look, isn't that the Fantastic Four flare? And Richie points to the sky, and it is the Fantastic Four flare. You're right, Richie. We gotta roll. Talk about your good timing. Well, goodbye. In case you change your mind, I live at. Sorry, gotta run. Mr. Grimm, how am I going to explain another car? Just tell Reed that I got a thing for convertibles. They drive off. Johnny makes his way back to the Baxter building, doing all sorts of it appears to be like loop de loops and fun aerial tricks.
Yeah, he looks like somebody that's playing Spider-Man, like the PS5 or PS4 game, where like you're just doing web tricks just to get places just because you can. You could get there faster without doing the web tricks, but like it's more fun.
And he comes up on the Baxter building, which has a very neat looking four insignia landing pad. And there is a smaller figure on the roof, which Johnny remarks, There's Sue, but she's all alone. Wonder what this is about. And he goes ahead and he lands on the Baxter building. And, go ahead and take us through Sue's look here.
Oh yeah, she's got this weird headpiece that works as a communicator and has a video port at the front where the like off her face. And then she has I'm not even sure what that I'm guessing that's her backpack that holds the flare bolts for the flare gun that's in her other hand. Um there's so much going on. That headpiece wraps all the way around her head, but like on the one piece, the one it looks like it's right next against her jaw on the one side, and then the other one it looks like it's not against her head. I'm not. There's so much.
So, and, going through this, like a lot of these pieces, as we're looking at this and really taking the detail, my thoughts on it kind of shift because the front of that, which has the four insignia on it, which you described as a video port, incorrectly so. When you see at the initial image, to me, I thought that might be the microphone for this apparatus, but no, that is the piece that's coming around the other side of her head, the smaller piece. But like you said, there is just a lot going on here. An
Yeah,
iPhone, this is not.
no, and it has like a whole thing of wings like behind it, like that's working as an antenna. I Reed's designs sometimes are insane. Going back to 1, 2, 3, 4, this is like something you would have seen in that book.
I was just about to remark that as well. It reminds me of Alicia's Omni communicator from Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4. And also, there's a bit of difference to Johnny this time as well, if you want to touch
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
Johnny shows up in a red suit, which gets him in all kinds of trouble in a few panels.
So, and this is not the first time that Johnny has rocked a red suit. He actually had a red costume way back in Volume 1 that he wore between issues 132 and 159 as he lands, still carrying the sack of toys. So, what's up with the flare, sis? We got a crisis situation or something? It was a test, Johnny, which you failed miserably, I might add. Your response time was totally unacceptable. What did you do? Take the scenic route through Central Park? Oh, cut me some slack. If it's just a drill, then why the big stink? As the training officer for the group, it's my job to see that we all work well as a team. So what do you have in the bag? Hold on. Why is your costume red? My excuse for being late. I dropped by the Toy Biz to pick up some of our licensed toys. Check this out. Two costumes means two different toy figures, one in regular blue and the other in combat mode red. Is this great or what? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Will you ever grow up, Johnny? And Ben is shown on the video port of the communicator that Sue is wearing, and he says, "The kid was at the toy store again? Why ain't I surprised? Well, when he's done playing around, why don't you two join us in the comm center?" And Sue and Johnny make their way downstairs. Ben's right, Johnny. This isn't some game. Yeah. I don't recall Ben complaining this much when I saved his ugly mud in our fight with Giganto. When was that, Shane?
So back in issue three, so the previous issue.
By the way, Prince Charming, any luck finding Cinderella? Huh? I I don't know what you're talking about. And Reed, meanwhile, is stretching, working on some controls in the communication room, saying, "Don't worry, old friend. I can always get another van for the carpool. Though next time I'll arrange for door handles you can use. In the meantime, I have some news of my own. I've completed my analysis of the data retrieved from the prototype's black box. Unfortunately, rather than painting a clearer picture of what happened to us, the data has raised more questions. What I do know at this point is that the cosmic radiation emitted by the stellar anomaly fundamentally altered our molecular as well as our genetic structures. When did that happen?
Back in issue number one.
With that in mind, I was hoping to find a key to the transformation effect, one that I could use to try and reverse Ben's condition. But the more I analyze our condition, the more I've come to realize that there's something very unusual about our present situation. What are you saying, Stretch? Haven't you all noticed how quickly and easily we seem to have acclimated to our new abilities? Almost effortlessly? It's almost as though we've always had them. But that simply doesn't make any sense. You're right, it don't. Want to try that again? In English this time? I want to take it aside here, Shane. How familiar are you with the events that led up to Fantastic Four Volume 2 being launched?
Not any. It's just it was the Heroes Reborn thing, right? Wasn't it? Or whatever. They were trying to bring back the whole universe.
Yes, but do you know what the events immediately preceding Heroes Reborn were in the 616 universe?
Uh, I cannot remember off the top of my head.
So for you and the listeners, let's talk a little bit here about Onslaught, which rolled out of the X-Men books, which were
Oh,
the highest selling books for Marvel at the time were the X-Men books. There was a gigantic Onslaught event where Charles Xavier and Magneto merged into this ultimate enemy, Onslaught, which was terrorizing the Marvel universe at the time. And the Avengers and the Fantastic Four all sacrifice themselves. And by that, I mean, with the Avengers, including Black Panther, who shows up in this issue, and Doctor Doom. They all become involved in this big conflict with Onslaught. They all sacrifice their lives to defeat Onslaught. And in order to save the lives of the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, it comes out that Franklin Richards created a pocket universe that he shunted all of them into at the last minute, that being the Heroes Reborn universe. I'm wondering if by this point, we're 3 months in. I'm assuming the number one issues did well, but I'm wondering how much Marvel really thought this was going to be a long-term thing, because by this point, now we not only are addressing that the Fantastic Four feel like they have always had their abilities, hinting back to the fact that they were once part of the main Marvel universe, but also there's been an issue of Incredible Hulk where Doctor Strange actually briefly was shunted into the Heroes Reborn universe, therefore having a crossover between both the 616 and this pocket universe. And it just seems like they were already trying to seed their way out of all this.
so the issue number ones, I would say, did not sell well.
No, that's not the case actually, because there is numbers that show that the first issues did sell well. I believe that the sales afterwards began to drop off slowly but surely. Still, maybe they were having problems with, well, let's be clear. They were having some problems as far as timeliness with Rob Liefeld, from what I understand, in the research that I've done. As a matter of fact, all of the Heroes Reborn books would eventually get moved over to Wildstorm Studios, I believe, by issue 6 or 7. But maybe they just were slowly seeing that relying on talent of this caliber who weren't always necessarily known for their timeliness wasn't going to be a sustainable method long term.
All those extra lines take more time. That's all I.
Anyway, I'll pull us back into the story now. Reed continues. Well, I can't say for sure. Not yet, at least. However, I may have found another clue that could help me solve this riddle. From the telemetry data in our flight recorder, I've managed to locate the point of impact on Earth of the object that emerged from the stellar anomaly and irradiated us. It crash landed somewhere within the kingdom of Wakanda. And as luck would have it, the king of Wakanda is a personal acquaintance of mine. How's that? As one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in Africa, T'Challa had a great many business dealings with the Storm Foundation. Sue has arranged a private audience with the king, so the two of us are leaving this very evening for Wakanda. What? How come just the two of you are going? What about us? Well, I figured you would hate to pass up your engagement with Ms. Masters tonight. She called and left a message while you were out. What? Are you kidding me? I hope that cosmic radiation hasn't affected your sense of humor, Reed. Trust me, Ben, he still needs all the help he can get. Several hours later, and nearly half a world away, what do we see?
We see the fantastic jet that was originally an Avengers jet. He modified it himself to make it more fantastic. And
Sure,
then
that's what we'll call it.
I mean, it becomes, he calls it the Fantastic Car eventually. And then he puts fours all over it because, branding for toys.
That was definitely a Johnny detail.
I was
I
going to throw that
just
out there.
these jets are just so over designed, and I'm wondering if Jim Lee designed this or if he's going off of the Liefeld designs for the Quinjets and Avengers. But this thing does not look aerodynamic to me.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It makes no sense.
Reed, the view from up here is simply spectacular. I was just about to say the same thing about these performance specs on our new Fantastic car. They've exceeded my wildest expectations. The Fantastic car? Well, that's what I like to call it. Tony Stark loaned me one of his hypersonic transports so I could modify its original power plants with my experimental plasma rods. Now this ship can achieve hypersonic suborbital flight and enable us to make transglobal trips in a matter of a few hours. Sorry, I hope I'm not boring you. How could life with Mr. Fantastic ever be boring? I'm just glad we were able to get away and spend some time by ourselves. What's wrong, my love? Sensors indicate aircraft approaching, but the signatures look fuzzy. It's as though they were using some form of stealth or cloaking technology. Reed, above us! And what's above them, Shane?
Uh, two, well, they're like spacecrafts, but two Wakandan ships appear out of thin air right above them.
Yeah, they look like they have like almost manta ray-like designs.
They're very spaceshipy, not so much. It doesn't look like a human design.
Attention, you have just entered Wakandan airspace. Please identify yourself. Over. This is Dr. Reed Richards and Storm. We are here by royal invitation, transmitting IFF code now. Over. What's IFF stand for?
Identification, friend or foe.
Code received and confirmed. Good evening, Dr. Richards and Miss Storm. We shall escort you to the landing field. The king awaits your arrival. Meanwhile, back in New York City, Ben looks to be kind of losing his mind, and Johnny is lounging in the air, partially using his flame. I can't believe this. Alicia actually called me. She wants to get together for coffee. What do I do? Now, this is a sight. Our big war hero gets the shakes over a simple date. How'd they ever let you get into a cockpit? Hey, are you going to help me or are you just going to be a pain in the. But an alarm sounds, Shane.
Yeah, aruga, aruga.
What the? It's the security alarm. Johnny flames on and flies down the hall. It's probably just a false alarm. I'll go check to make sure. Whoa, there is an intruder. Hey, buddy, what do you think you're doing here? And who do we see?
We see that guy from the crowd earlier with the Yankees ball cap and trench coat.
Yeah. Stay back. And he opens fire on the torch.
Yep, you get a nice fazam, zam.
I need Dr. Richard's help. Mister, you've got a funny way of asking. And he keeps firing.
Yep, you get two more fazams as grabs him by the arm and points it towards the ceiling.
All right, cut that out before someone around here gets hurt. Namely yourself. What? So who's our uninvited guest? Let's just take a good look at him. And his ball cap falls off, causing Ben to astoundingly say, Holy cow! You? And we turn the page and are sent back to Wakanda Air Force Base. Welcome to Wakanda, Dr. Richards. And as pleased as I am to have a man of your renown come visit, it is just as pleasurable to see you again, Susan Storm. You are as beautiful as I remember. And who do we see here, Shane?
We see T'Challa.
What's he look like?
He's got a bandana with some kind of print on it, and he's got like I guess, what would you call that? Like a toga? He's wearing like a toga for a shirt and has little metal bracers on his arms.
It's hard to believe that it's already been a year since the Pan-African Economic Summit, T'Challa. Reed and I are hoping that you can help us. I would like that. Unfortunately, I fear there are dark forces at work in my country. In the past 2 weeks alone, two expeditions sent forth to locate the impact site of the anomaly object have vanished without a trace. And he walks towards an altar topped off with a carving of a giant Black Panther. Now I feel I must investigate this situation for myself. But first, I must prepare for our journey. And the base of the altar opens. And what does he pull out of it, Shane?
He starts pulling out his Black Panther uniform.
Like the rest of the world, I have heard about the exploits of the Fantastic Four and your transformation by the stellar anomaly. Apparently, we all seek answers that lie hidden in the heart of the jungle. I am the last of the warrior kings. In addition to my guidance, my people need my courage. Therefore, when you travel into the jungle, you will not be aided simply by T'Challa, king of Wakanda, but by the warrior avatar of my country, the Black Panther. Go ahead and describe the Black Panther uniform to our listeners.
Sure, it is an all black uniform with obviously a cape because why not? And it has a very Doctor Strange like um I don't even know
Collar.
what you call that. Yeah, collar, I guess. Seems unnecessary, but it's there. And of course, Jim Lee design, so all of the belts for no reason. I don't know what either of those belts is doing. One across his chest and then one right mid waist.
I feel like this is very much the design he had in Fantastic Four 52. Yeah. Um, including both the belts.
Really? What
Yeah.
both belts?
Yeah. He has the large collar, the short cape, the chest belt, belt around his waist, uh, and the same, I want to say, gloves and boots. Yeah. All from his first appearance for the most part. So you're seeing Jim Lee do a Jack Kirby design.
Yeah. Oh my. Now that I pulled it up, it is like dead. It's a very good, truthful redoing of it too. Down with the lines in the gloves and all. I like that. Didn't even think about it.
Now I must meet with my council to instruct them as to the duties in my absence. In the meantime, the two of you should rest. You must be spent from your journey. All right, we'll see you in the morning and depart at first light. And, you would think that T'Challa, King of Wakanda, would set Reed and Sue up at, maybe maybe the palace, maybe the a hotel of some sort, but it looks like they're just left to rough it here next to the Panther idol.
I mean, I think that's what they chose to do. They needed their intimate moment. And what's more intimate than right in front of the statue itself?
I mean, there's not even a tent here,
Well, they have the fire. They're fine.
and I think rightfully so. Reed says, "Interesting man, T'Challa. It's not often that you meet the ruler of a country who wants to don a costume like some superhero. Shh, it's a beautiful night. Why don't you just be quiet and enjoy it?" And Sue leads in to kiss Reed, who remarks, I think I can manage that. And we are given a shot of the moon because, that's it's only appropriate that we give the two of them their privacy.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that.
Well, you
Because
didn't want to see if Mr. Fantastic could stretch every part of his body.
no, no, I definitely don't need that in my life.
And our scene shifts again to early the following morning. This was the path taken by both of the previous expeditions. We are now entering uncharted territory. Susan, from here I can offer you and Dr. Richards no further guarantees concerning your safety on this journey. We can take care of ourselves, T'Challa. We've definitely crossed into a fallout zone. Genetic mutation of the indigenous foliage is occurring at an accelerated rate. The air quality is within tolerance, Reed. The cosmic radiation levels had deteriorated within the last few days, as though the source was suddenly shut down. We must be approaching ground zero. Just look at these trees. They should only be 6 to 8 feet tall, but now they're towering up to the sky like sequoia redwoods. Stop! Hold your positions. We're being watched. How do you... Over there! Reed, what is that thing? I'm not sure. And what do we see?
We see a lizard jumping out of the vegetation right at them, and Reed reaching out with his long arm to snatch it with no problem.
It is merely a lizard. Not just any lizard, T'Challa. It's been exposed to high levels of cosmic radiation in much the same way Sue and I were. But surely it could not have been responsible for the disappearance of my warriors. And as Reed holds this lizard, it makes a sound.
Reek!
And from behind the expedition, we get, "You are correct, human." And one of the guards says, "Eh?" While Reed says, "Who?" "But you will not live long enough to learn the truth." And what happens?
One of the warriors that's with them on the patrol gets attacked by from behind by a lizard claw again.
And it once again makes a sound.
Yep, you get a nice little shrip as it's ripping through the flesh.
And the guard lets out a "Yarr!" Be on your guard. We are under attack. Look, over there. It's got another one of T'Challa's warriors. There must be more than one of them. And that guard lets out a scream as the talons close in on his head.
Yeah, you get a nice aye.
And another one of T'Challa's guards opens fire.
Yeah, you got a nice little frap frap as it's just firing into the woods, hoping to hit something.
Keep moving. We must not let them surround us. But where do we go? Stand back, my liege. Hold your fire. Don't expend your ammunition until you have a clear. And a grenade hits the ground at the guard's foot.
Yep, you get a nice plock as it hits, and you get a countdown of a ping, ping, ping.
Yeah, and it's definitely kind of a science fiction looking grenade, obviously, and the it has some symbols on it that do not look of human origin.
No.
Reed begins to stretch towards Sue, yelling, Sue, get away from there! There's no time to run, Reed. Only one chance. At the last possible moment, Sue Storm uses her power to create an invisible force field to save Reed and herself from the deadly blast.
Yep, you get a nice whoom as it blows up, and they get start tumbling down. It looks like down a hill.
Just one of the amazing new abilities she has worked tirelessly to master since becoming empowered by the cosmic radiation. And as they land at the bottom of this ravine, the force field dissipates, and Reed awakes to see his handheld computer making a sound.
Yep, veep, veep, veep.
And he and Sue begin pushing their way through the jungle vegetation. And so, several moments later, the pads locked onto the source of the radiation. Apparently, we're not the only ones interested in the object. And PAD, spelled with two D's, is an acronym that stands for what?
Portable analysis and detect device.
Someone's been a step ahead of us all along, and according to these readings, what we're looking for is inside that container. What are Reed and Sue looking at here?
They're looking at a camouflaged container jet that you would use to move massive containers around the world.
They're looking at this cargo jet, and Reed says, Someone's been a step ahead of us all along, and according to these readings, what we're looking for is inside that container. Once they get it aboard that aircraft, there's no way of knowing where they might take it. Then it's up to us to stop them. Let me get a closer look at our friends, he says as he begins pulling binoculars up to his eyes.
Yeah, and you see uh, a third head there, but not conversing with them also in that panel.
Yeah, describe that silhouette.
It is the Black Panther's silhouette, which we'll come to find in the next, it's either the next panel or the next page.
And Reed sees through the binoculars. Good Lord, it's Wingfoot. And Wyatt Wingfoot, cigarette in hand, is outside this cargo jet, and he's got a couple guys in biohazard suits loading the container that you had referenced. Quickly now, load our prize into the cargo bay. The more time we spend in the jungles only increases the risk of failure, and I will not jeopardize the success of this mission. So what do we... what happens?
Black Panther covers their mouths so they cannot be heard.
Fear not, it is I, the Black Panther. You're alive, T'Challa. I managed to jump clear of the blast. Then our odds of success have just improved. Those men down there intend to abscond with the stellar anomaly. I fear that they may have also played a role in the disappearances of your men. Then the time has come to avenge them. And as they make their way down a hill, Sue takes a step, and what happens?
You hear a click, and then some walls start popping up around them.
Watch out. We have set off a trap. Containment walls closing in all around us. And T'Challa gets his hands in between the walls and tries to push them apart. Can't keep them open. And the walls seal around them. We're sealed inside. Richards, try to find a crack and squeeze through. Wait, what's that noise?
It's like a zzzz, like a nice humming sound underneath there.
And you see that Kirby crackle from the cover begin to envelop this trio. Arg! Neuron disruptors! T'Challa screams as he clenches his hands around his ears. Reed and Sue are quickly doing the same. Ugh, my head! The pain! Can't think straight.
Yep, got a nice zrap as it's like also like just in going through their entire body almost.
And we see that Agent Wingfoot is piloting the cargo plane as he gets the report. Sir, the intruders have been neutralized. Bring them aboard as well. It's time we leave this place. We are running behind schedule. And the cargo jet zooms up into the night. And needless to say, the master will not be pleased. And our scene shifts to what looks to be a Bavarian village overseen by a castle in the morning. And you know it's morning because there's a rooster who says,
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
I've seriously just been waiting for this moment. That's all I wanted out of this podcast was you to make the rooster noise. And Reed, Sue, and T'Challa find themselves on a stone floor, coming to. Sue lets out an oh. Well, Reed, who is just stretched completely out of shape right now. Thank heavens, she's all right and coming to. T'Challa? I am unharmed, Dr. Richards, but all of my senses tell me that we are no longer in Wakanda, or perhaps even Africa for that matter. But who brought us here, and why? What is going on? As one ruler to another, I shall enlighten you with the answers you seek, T'Challa of Wakanda. Who? That voice. Despite its electronic distortion, I'd recognize it anywhere. And we turn the page, and what do we see, Shane?
We see Doctor Doom in all of his glory with his Doombots behind him.
How flattering. After all these years, Richards, you still remember me. But then how could you ever hope to expunge from your memory the name of the only man who was, and still is, your intellectual superior? I bid you all welcome to the castle of Victor Von Doom, the ruler of Latveria, and it is my hope that you enjoy your stay here, for none of you shall ever leave this place alive. To be continued. All right, Shane. How did you like this issue?
I enjoyed this. I don't know about yourself. There's a lot going on with like there's like three plots going through, but I enjoyed this. How about yourself?
I mean, I didn't dislike this issue. The greatest hit vibe definitely continues with this issue. I mean, it does adapt elements of Volume 1, Number 5, but more so Volume 152 with the introduction of Black Panther. I will say the dialogue was hard to get through, reading it aloud. You're not going to hear a lot of it on this recording, but as we were doing this read through, I struggled quite a bit with, not just Reed's dialogue, but also Sue and T'Challa's to an extent as well. Uh, it was
Yeah,
pretty rough.
I'll never think of Orbital the same way again.
Yeah, Orbital gave me some problems. But let's go ahead and we'll hit our four things. So for Fantastic Frame this issue, my favorite panel was splash page on page 20. Doctor Doom, as you said, in all his glory. Uh, Marvelous work from Jim Lee. I don't know how I feel about his belt buckle being a giant D, but you know, still favorite uh image from this entire issue. It's glorious to behold.
I mean, if you take away the word bubbles in that, you could make that a really cool poster or screen print on a shirt.
Honestly, it would surprise me if they haven't already.
So,
What about yourself, Shane?
I did page 11, panel 1. Ben absolutely losing his mind about going on a date. And Johnny just sitting in the background, like, how can we let this guy be a pilot? He's terrified of a date.
I will say to me, this really evokes some very, it's very in character for both Ben and Johnny, but it's just a classic. Well, it's a 90s version of a classic panel. Uh, Ben's upset and Johnny is not, and you can just tell that Johnny's nonchalantness is uh really agitating Ben even more so than the situation.
Yeah, it's just so I don't know. It just seems so fitting. I just love these little character moments.
All
S-
right.
So the next one we have is Grimm's Grumblings.
Yeah, what is your grim grumbling for this issue? What bothered you?
Uh page 2 and 3.
That's actually really funny. But go ahead.
Well, I already talked about the fingernails. That's a problem. But then the fact that they actually specifically had to call out that they were a bunch of 14-year-old girls, that didn't have to be there. They could have been adults. Like, why was that necessary in this commentary? It was not. Bad choice.
I mean, I also don't think I've ever seen that many women in a toy store, quite frankly. And that is not to
Uh,
say that there are not women toy collectors, because I follow a lot on Instagram, but like it just does not seem realistic for the mid 90s.
and then like the final panel on page 3 too, where it's like, whoa, check out his bod. And I'm like, really? You just got done saying they're 14. Come on.
Well, I mean, let's be real. I mean, it's not like adolescent girls don't have crushes.
Sure, they do. Um, it just seems like unnecessary to be in a comic book. Make them 18, it's not as creepy. There just looks like weird. What's yours, bud?
So I'm actually going to build off yours here a little bit, and I'm going to go over to page 4, panel 1, because I mean, Johnny had the right idea at first with not wanting to be mobbed by adolescent girls. But then he says over here as he flies away, it just doesn't get any better than this. Nah, bro, you had it right the first time. Don't get creepy on us now. Like, I just,
Yeah, don't get creepy. It's so creepy. But all right. Well, we've touched on the Grimm's grumbling, and we definitely had a bah moment in this book, as I like to call them. I literally write it down now that you made it Grimm's grumbling, if it's a bah moment or not. Um, so you're gonna hear a lot of bahs. Get over it. Um, Cosmic cliffhanger for you,
so,
bud.
so mine is actually page 11, panel 7, which is when the intruder is more or less, for lack of a better term, unmasked, and you get Ben's exclamation with the "Holy cow, you!" That definitely made me want to turn the page here. Now, of course, you don't find out this issue who it is. Uh, we have to not see Ben or Johnny for the rest of the issue at all, but still,
Mm.
that suspense really built up in me. So, good job.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Um,
What about
the
yours?
eye.
Oh
For
no, go
me,
ahead. Keep you were going on. You had
yeah,
something to
the
say.
eyes. I was gonna say the eyes really drive home that frame. It really it's really sad that we didn't get the payoff in by the end of the issue.
What did you end up picking for your cosmic cliffhanger?
Mine is 15:5. That is when Reed's yelling at Sue to get away from there, and uh she's like, "There's only one chance," and then when you turn the panel, she automatically put them in a bubble to protect them from getting blown up.
Nice. I can see where the curiosity of what Sue was going to do really ramps up that tension there. And what she does is the most basic thing she could do.
Yeah, and she does only put them. She puts them in one bubble together. She could have like tried to throw them away from it. There's a bunch of things she could have done,
She could have put the
but
grenade in a bubble.
she could have did that. We're not thinking like that. That's too far advanced thinking yet. So, uh, that was mine because it was like the one kind of hero moment that happened in this issue.
Yeah. That'll lead us right into MFP. Who was the most fantastic player of this issue for you, Shane?
Sue, because basically going off of what I said earlier, she's the only one that really had like a hero moment in this issue. She saved Reed from the explosion. Oh, and then like page 7 where she's just ripping into Johnny for being like, because she's like, I'm the training specialist, and you need to be when I call you, you need to be here on time. She's just trying to make the team structure a little bit better, more grounded into actual teamwork instead of them being just a bunch of individuals.
That is all fair.
Which one? Who did you have down for yours?
It's kind of an awkward choice, but I went with the girl with the pink nails and the two rings on page two, purely for creeping you out.
Those nails are so bad.
No, I also went for Sue, purely for that force field moment where she saves herself and Reed from the grenade. Um, yeah, like you said, there were just not a lot of options this time around. So,
I just think it was the only like hero moment in there. You could have probably made an argument for Reed for figuring out what's going on. I just like what she brought to the table in this issue.
no, this run so far has been, even though there are some gratuitous shots involving Sue, I feel like it has been very kind to Sue's character and usefulness.
Yeah, she's definitely not just a designer for her Duar or whatever.
Dior, yeah.
Dior. That's what it is. I know how to speak.
Well, if you want to check out the story for yourself, you can go root around for that issue in a back issue bin. While you're in there, you may actually find a copy of Marvel Heroes Reborn #4 from December of 1997, which was the first place that this story was reprinted, alongside of Heroes Reborn Iron Man #4. There is also the Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four Volume 1 trade from October of 2006. Or you could be like me and pick up the Heroes Reborn Omnibus that was published in June of 2021. Of course, you can also check it on Marvel Unlimited. So next week, Shane, we're going to be celebrating Halloween around these parts, and on the Facebook page, we have long since put up a call for suggestions, which we've gotten a few so far as of this recording. So yeah, it's going to be kind of a surprise what we pick to delve into next week for our Halloween themed episode.
Yeah, kind of excited um, to see where we go with that. I'm
But
sure
yeah,
the listeners will be excited too.
as of right now, a couple things in the running. We want to give a shout out to listeners Bob Wright and Barry Reese for giving us what may be our top two suggestions so far. Could change, but I like to shout out people who, go out of their way to give us suggestions.
Yeah,
Again, that being said, your feedback is important to us. We do highly appreciate it if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple or comment on Spotify. As always, you can subscribe to us on your preferred listening platform so we show up in your feed each and every week. Like the aforementioned Bob Wright, who has told us that he enjoys our show and it's helping him get through his day door dashing. So, Bob, thanks for listening. We are on Facebook at the Fantastic Four Fancast, where we encourage you to engage in FF related discussions and share Fantastic Four related contact. We only ask that you adhere to the group rules and, most importantly, be respectful. Again, if you're on the Facebook group, you're going to be able to participate in being able to suggest episode topics from time to time, like with next week's Halloween episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at Fan4Fancast. That is at FAN, the number four, FANCAST. Finally, you can email us feedback and suggestions at fan4fancast@gmail.com. Again, that is FAN, the number four, FANCAST@gmail.com. Got any final words this week regarding Fantastic Four Volume 2, Number 4, Shane?
No, it's a quick read. I highly recommend it. These books aren't as bad as people are putting them on, or have I've been led to believe they were. At least these first four weren't. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I enjoyed the issue, for what it was. Is it Lee and Kirby? Is it John Byrne? Is it Walt Simonson? No, it's something different. Every creative team brings something different. Some of it better than others. Shane didn't like Grant Morrison and Jay Lee's Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4. I love it. This falls somewhere in the middle between, great runs and terrible runs. There's all kinds of stuff that we're going to cover on this show. So, but yeah, word of mouth kind of misled me on this. I was expecting a train wreck. Granted, there's still 8 more issues in this run, so things could always take a turn.
Yeah, doesn't it get sullied by getting into like a bunch of crossovers later on or something in this run?
Yeah, interestingly enough, the prologue for the Industrial Revolution crossover actually hits with our next issue. So it'll be interesting to see how we cover that, if we cover that uh anytime soon. But we'll figure that out when the time comes.
Minus the extra straps for just no reason. This book is just delivering all of the. It's like Jim's love letter to Lee and Kirby. He's wanting to do his own story of retelling of the 60s books.
It's true. It also might be that, he needed to get the minutia out of the way and take the building blocks that he still wanted to use in order to tell the stories he wanted to tell. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, listeners, thanks again for tuning in to this week's edition of Baxter Building Radio. For Shane Murray, I'm Nate Charles. We'll see you next week. And until then, stay fantastic.